All right, here we are, folks. It's the one we've been waiting for. It's the one we are excited about without equal. It is Clem. It is Reynor on Curious Minds. And in the bottom right, in the blue, his name now for Kites of Gaming, it is Reynor. And his opponents in the upper left, in the gold, a little corporal from France, and Team Liquid is Clem.
All right, some fitting intro for these two young Gosus. I'm actually like super pumped, man. You know, since coronavirus garbage all started, I haven't gotten to cast that many games of the European players, so I feel like I've missed out on a lot of Clem, even though I've seen his games. You know, it's another feeling altogether to be able to sit inside of it and kind of just, well, I don't know, cast it, you know, say what's going on to everybody, watch it firsthand and describe it. You know, it's got that other feeling, and I'm just pumped to see this rivalry continue.
I know, absolutely. And what a map to start it on, Artosis. We talked about, well, actually, Clem said in the interview the other day that, yeah, look, the map pool's bad for Terran. You know, that's the argument here. But Curious Minds is not a map that's bad for Terran. It is the second shortest map in the pool. It's one where Clem can utilize every little bit of just how stupidly fast, how freakishly fast his hands are to look to find some level of an advantage.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that he can, right? Like, if Reynor doesn't throw him off, I feel like Clem is pretty good at getting himself into a position where he does have chances to take the game. One thing that I did notice in some of the previous games, like for instance his match against Cyril, is sometimes, you know, you mentioned he's got those fast hands. Sometimes maybe they're a little bit too fast. Sometimes maybe he goes forward a little bit too far and doesn't push as patiently as he needs to. Now that being said, some nice little Reaper harassment gets in there, puts some damage onto a drone. Just a little to and fro of the Lings and Reaper. Some excellent micro here from Clem, but unable to secure any kills yet. Oh, and then he gets a drone. What?
Yeah, that actually doesn't happen. But hey, we have no excuse. This is on Europe versus Europe. It is just Clem that is that good. Now, Tosis, the one thing we should point out is, of course, the fact here that Reynor did go for the 4-ling opener, not the 6. I know it's a small thing. Bear with me.
Yeah.
We started to see Korea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, the 4-ling thing, like, I mean, I think if you have perfect latency, it's something that I see a fair amount, right? Like the Koreans do this against each other a good amount, right? Like the queen comes out, you have a bunch of damaged Lings, and you just kind of hold. And if you can do it right, you have that extra drone. Now here, he didn't do it right, so he lost the extra drone. I mean, I guess all's fair in love and war.
Yeah, there we go. On this one, historically, at least, it has been a war. But Tosis, that means that game 1 is over, right? Like, there's no coming back. Reynor is he's miles behind, morally, in-game state, just no way.
Oh, he's basically dead, man. That's let's just chalk this up. All right, we're gonna have this done in an hour, man, because we're just gonna call it on the first mistake each time. True pro gamer cast.
That it is. I might keep talking for a second. Apparently, my audio is being very weird.
Oh no. Well, hope you get that fixed. But we do have a little bit of harassment going down here. Ends up killing off 2 drones, but will end up losing the 2 Hellions as well as the Reaper. Now, this is a Banshee follow-up. So we're going to see if he can actually get enough together for some real damage. But I almost feel like if you're going to spend your first 2 Hellions when you're going Banshee before those Banshees get there, it is going to impact the strength of the next part of your push here. So we'll see if Clem is able to get in. Just running around on the creep there is going to pull back with his Hellions. The Queen's trying to zone out. Reynor just very aggressively pushing that creep. And speaking of which, he does have 3 spores on the way. So looks like he is going to be sewn up pretty tight against these incoming Banshees.
Yeah, of course, the goal of Banshees is not really, I mean, yes, you want to get worker damage, but look, it's pressure on the map here. It does force Reynor to multitask a little more, maybe provides a little room later on for the Hellions to dive in, and maybe find some value. But look, it's map control, it's creep spread. Clem's, he's okay with the way things are going. He's got a 3rd CC on the way behind this. Now, the one thing we got to be looking at as we look to see where Reynor goes from here, of course, when you go for this opener Artosis, you don't get a lot of Marines, not to start. So you want to go mutas,
No.
that is an option that Reynor can look to leverage.
Yeah, and I mean, I always like the mutas. I think that that's kind of the standard, and it should be the standard, but it's good to be able to mix other things. And we do see the Ro4 coming up. So I guess Reynor has decided to go towards that tech route instead. Ooh, a lot of damage put on that one Banshee. He's going to have to pull back. I think so far, Clem's harassment has been pretty solid overall, but I mean, Reynor hasn't taken significant damage as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, again, and actually the thing we got to be pointing out, though, this creep spread from Reynor already at almost the 6-minute mark, it's over halfway across the map, and he's going for roaches. That is, the push that he's going to be able to put up here is kind of terrifying.
Well, I do like to see that out of Reynor. Like, obviously, it's always cool to see the Zerg player push the creep as hard as they can. But, I mean, you're the one that mentioned here, Beo, that it's kind of a smaller map, so that's going to help Clem. But then Reynor says, well, let's just get our creep right across it then and go for this roach tech.
What if I make it so you can literally never push because the creep spread is going to be in your third base and making your SCV's mine slower? That's how that works by the 7-minute mark. I mean, yeah. Sure, fine. That's how a normal ZVT goes, 100%.
Well, it might be this time, that's for sure. Now, we have some roaches on the way. It is melee and carapace coming up as well. So, looks like he's only going to be making the roaches for a little bit. Might be more Ravager-centric, especially after the initial push. But yeah, this creep is actually getting scarily close to that third base. I feel like Clem has to get something done about that.
Yeah, and that is one of the downsides if you are looking for maybe more damage with Hellions and not doing less creep control. By the time you have these Marines out, hold that thought, we got a bunch of Lings into the third base. Actually doesn't look like it gets too much done here, even with the tank friendly fire. But again, the problem with maybe sitting on the edge of things looking for more damage than just creep removal is by the time you have Marines out of the map, by the time your stim is done, all these things, if you are Reynor, a player who has been focusing and practicing specifically this creep spread, leading up to Katowice in particular, look at where we are. It's almost on the low ground outside of Clem's third base.
Yeah, and like, what do you do here as Clem? Are you going to try to aggressively push the creep back? Are we going to see him add his second factory now to get some more tanks out? And the funny part from Reynor's strategy is he's not actually committing that hard into roaches. Like, he's got a little group, and it looks kind of scary, but he is definitely focusing more heavily on Ling Bane at this point.
Yeah, Artosis, I'm really feeling flashbacks to like 2017, right?
Yeah.
You got Roach Ravager, we got the Infestation Pit on the way, there we go, and Quick Ultras behind this. It's not going to be something that Clem's going to be expecting, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that, because I was actually thinking the exact same thing. This feels like an older build, but with way more bases, you know? Like, that was like a 3-base build when it first came out, the Ling Ravager into the Ultra Tech, but here he's got a huge economy behind it. Clem coming up where the creep is the smallest. Reynor with a little bit of a counterattack, bringing his units back up. Now here goes Clem pushing in forward very quickly, zoning everything back. His siege tanks not getting hit. He is clearing some of the creep, but he's still standing on this creep, and if Baneling's speed finishes, he's going to have a hard time. But right now, this hatchery under attack.
And Artosis, we got to remember the upgrades for these roaches, they are not good. Here's the bio now. They're looking to stim on in, but the counterattack to surround from behind, trying to knock down these tanks, but they do not get it. Ravager Battle's knocked down one, but the bio, it stands strong here, looking to stim on in, and there does not appear to be enough here for Reynor right now. The army is starting to fall. More and more Lings popping on in as the tanks, they do fall here, and it looks like finally Clem gets pushed back, but not before the base goes down. That was a fantastic move from the young Frenchman.
Seriously, I have some chills from that. That was just perfectly controlled. And if Reynor hadn't come in with that flank, I mean, he would have done more than that even. But he had just enough at the end of the day to knock down that hatchery, and that is a super important moment here. Clem just bringing it to Reynor in this game number one.
It really is. Maybe looking to show us why that style is a thing of the past, why it is a little bit anachronistic, but for now, we got to be a little bit scared because Reynor says, yeah, you know what, you knocked my base down, that's fine. I can still run across the map in the blink of an eye, put some pressure on, and maybe try to force you back, but the rally of Clem is here. It is powerful, and he moves on to creep once again. Reynor forced back. Luckily, though, his upgrades are done now. He has Banes on the way. Baneling speed is done. He's going to have a much more powerful army for this next push.
He will indeed, but we do have 2-2 here for Clem. Look at this, dodging the Biles very masterfully. Is he a bit too deep here, though? The Bane's coming up, and they do connect partially with those tanks. Oh, sick Bane hit. Looks like a little bit of miss micro, and maybe missing that those 2 Banes were still left alive. Clem does end up losing a bunch of Marines there and has to retreat pretty far.
Yeah, unfortunately there, Clem goes forward. He says, look, I've got it. I've knocked all the Banes down. The roaches are falling. Let's stim in. And then, well, 5 more Banes pop up. The entirety of the Marines fall down, and that does buy Reynor a lot of time. Remember, Tosis, he's still on 4 bases. You know, it's not 5. It's not as nice as he would be, but Ultra Cavern halfway done. 2-2 on the way, and most importantly, he's adding on Vipers.
Yeah, the Viper's definitely going to add a lot, considering we're on 2 factory siege tank at the moment. Also, wouldn't mind seeing a few parasitic bombs if he has the time, since the medevac count is getting a little bit out of hand at 11. Now, Clem just doing some great multitasking throughout this. He does have that 4th base up and mining, and honestly, like, we've seen Reynor attempt counterattacks maybe 3 times now, but nothing really doing damage. Like, Clem is dictating this game at the moment.
It's such an interesting way to say that, because we had a rather passive Clem, all things considered, for the first 7 minutes. You know, he wasn't super active on the map. Sure, Hellion Banshee, as the bio goes in, hey, he gets Queen. But we weren't seeing him drop everywhere. We weren't seeing him really look to abuse the big downside of going for Roach Ravager, right? Where they just can't be everywhere at once. It's supply dense. It doesn't move around all that quickly. But now, oh, Bile's not going to land. But now that he has been able to kill that base, he's been able to make a lot of this creep recede suddenly. I mean, he is unlocked on the map.
Yeah, I love how he kind of ignored the top piece of creep that was so scary, because, I mean, if you're spending all your time clearing that, you're never going to do damage. Instead, hit the bottom, and he's keeping a lot of pressure on the bottom, and just now starting to clear some of that creep up at the top. So we'll see if he's able to punch into the top right, because that is going to become an important area. But Reynor, like, he is not stopping growing here, right? Like, he's got ultras coming out onto creep. He's getting 3-3, chitinous, adrenal, everything he really needs. And as long as he's battling on creep, he's got a good chance to take any fight.
Ooh, we got a big fight kicking off here. A lot of the tanks are going to go down. They're caught at the front, but also it's Banelings killing tanks. And yes, DRG showed us that, okay, that's a good thing, but also Clem has a lot more where that came from. So he says, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that creep on the right side, it's gone now. You spent a lot of time here, Reynor. I'm glad, thank you, but it's gone. I'm going to be able to put the push on the right-hand side. And as much as you talk about Reynor growing, he does have 2 bases on the right side that are maybe a little bit vulnerable once the creep spread gets knocked down.
Yeah, and he's trying to hit him right now, pushing forward very, very quickly. A decent spread as far as siege tanks go. Some great parasitic bombs going down, but nice splits here, keeping those medevacs alive as best as he possibly can. But where is the ground army right now for Reynor? He really needs to bring it up here.
Yeah, but now he's going to bring it up right now. The big surround coming on in, but look at this tank line, Artosis. Yeah, maybe some blinding clouds. They're not even going to show on up, and everything is shelling away at this Zerg army. Clem now up 50 supply in this game number 1. That was not the fight that Reynor was looking for.
No, that certainly was not. Just a masterful spread there from Clem, followed up by great multitasking, micro, macro, everything. A complete Terran player here, putting out a wonderful fight, and it looks like Reynor is on the brink of destruction. Clem going for the killing blow right now. He does eat a ton of Baneling shots, but does that even matter as he punches his way up into the natural?
It does not matter at all, Artosis. The upgrades, they're under threat. The 4th base is dead. Everything is dead for Reynor in this game number 1. And guess what, Artosis? No, we're going to say it. The kids are all right. Or at least the kid is all right. And guess what? Yeah, we're in the upper right in the blue. He is down 1 game in this series. He is for Kaitsa Gaming, the Italian stallion. Give it up, folks. His name is Reynor. And the bottom left, of course, in the gold, playing dominant in that first game. It is Clem.
I love the polar bear portrait. Amazing. Yep. All right. Yeah, I just dug that game like so much. Amazing to watch. Amazing to see Clem put out that level of play here. And we'll see if Reynor can kind of rally back. you know, I wonder how much of that was Clem playing just out of his mind, because he definitely was, and is that the strategy that you want to use against him, right? Because it does feel like if you go for these mid-range Roach Ravager-esque type strats, really on top of it, Terrans can abuse that somewhat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, we talked about this last game a little bit. Roach Ravager is it's a powerful force, but it doesn't really move around the map all that well. You know, it doesn't defend your main and your third, and especially as Clem had that timing where, well, Reynor didn't have upgrades on his roaches. You know, he was going until he really got caught in the transition there. That army, it's a lot of supply, but it's not the most powerful thing. So Clem just really, he brutalized exactly where Reynor was not. Then he went and said, oh yeah, let me go kill you. Although it did take a little longer. But Artosis, I think we got to be clear here. The reason Reynor lost that game number 1 was nothing to do with the mid game. It was because he lost a drone about 90 seconds in.
Oh my God, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, that game doesn't even count. Well, looking here, we do have the factory coming up, Reaper coming over. We'll see if he can get that drone again. Only 4 drones up the ramp, gonna come down. Little tiny bit of damage on that drone to start. And throwing the grenade down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's gonna get. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's more what I have come to expect with the Reaper opener. Oh! No, doesn't quite get that one link.
Yeah, just a warm-up game for Reynor in that first one. He said, yeah, I'll spot you the game. I'll spot you the drone. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, that's must be pretty rich to be spotting with this type of prize pool, but we'll see if he's able to fight back a little bit more. You know, I gotta say, I like these starport openers that we're seeing from Clem in both of the games. It does give, you know, a lot of Terrans like to go like factory third command center very, very quickly. Which, oh wait, that is actually exactly what's going on here. There's the third command center. But anyways, we'll see if he goes into the Banshee here as well, like that last game.
Yeah, that really is the standard for Clem. I mean, we have started to see maybe a little bit more 2-on-1, at least in the Western games that I get to talk about. But no, yeah, it's not going to be Banshee at all. It's going to be a Liberator opening Artosis, maybe a little less gas committed to that early aggression.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of waiting to see where he's going to end up putting it. It's not a bad map to go for that. Maybe throw it behind the natural there a little bit, try to rotate to the main. We'll see. And of course, you're trying to keep the queens kind of up at the front with your Hellions, or if too many of them do go, sometimes you can dive in for those drone kills. Stim gets started here for Clem as well.
All right, yeah, so just going on behind that, your standard TV's opener. He's going to get into, well, his mid-game force maybe a little bit faster because he did go for those Liberators instead of, well, a Tech Lab and a Banshee. You know, that's a little expensive. And of note, it seems like he's doing a little bit better job this game of curtailing the rampant, the unchecked creep spread that Reynor just really looked terrifying with in that last game. He got creep tumors early with the Reapers. He's doing a really good job of just figuring out where the tumors are going to go next. And yeah, Reynor, his creep spread's good, but Clem's just, he's handling it just slightly better this game.
It does feel that way. And, you know, the map is going to be a little bit longer to get that creep spread to the middle anyways. Here comes that first Liberator siege. Looks like he's going to damage the Queen a couple times. Doesn't really get any drones. The Spore moves over very quickly. So no real damage dealt yet with the Lib.
That is true, and I think also the thing we got to point out here, I don't think this is going to be the same idea from Reynor. I mean, he's got a Bailey Nest on the way already. This really should not be that Roach pressure. And look, there are a couple reasons. You said it's hardwire. It's a lot longer of a map. But also, I think Clem kind of proved that you don't want to do that against him. It's maybe not the best move.
Yeah, and of course, you know, when the map does get a little bit longer like that, maybe the Lings are going to just be a little bit more powerful. But we'll see what type of tech he actually gets when this finishes up. Like, are we going to see the quick Spire here? Is it possible we'll see Lingbane Hydra? You know, of course, just the mass Lingbane is something that's relatively popular, but there it is, the Spire coming up. No big surprise there. I think that's a great choice for Hardwire.
That it is, and in general, I'm just excited to see a Mutiling Bane game, honestly, Artosis. I mean, the standard now for the last year and a half, has given us great games of this Ling Bane into Hydra into Lurker idea. But, I mean, let's be real. What made us all fall in love with TVZ? It was that parade push into Mutiling Bane. At least it was for me. So seeing Reynor pull that one out makes me pretty happy here. Now, of course, we got to point out, your upgrades, they're very late. The ground pounding force that Clem has, should he look to start to utilize it, should he find that timing, is going to be rather difficult for Reynor to deal with, right? You get 20 Marines out on the map right as the mutas pop, especially with 1-1 combat shield stim. The mutas, they don't fight that.
No, you're very right about that. Like, the mutas have to dictate a lot of what Terran does, and then you also have to connect with your banelings, because you're generally down 2 upgrades with this build until the end of the game. So that is something that you have to keep on top of. But that's something that Clem may be able to use to his advantage. Now look at this, he's pushing back even more creep. We've seen him kill how many tumors so far this game? It's like more than 10.
Well, yeah, more than 10, less than about 1,000. I think that's probably a pretty good, pretty good guess there.
Yes, you nailed it. Oh my God.
Hey, there we go. But I mean, the mutas, they're about to be ready here pretty soon. Bio's going to stim on forward here. There's a scan knocking down more creep spread. But I mean, these queens, they are really hard to break through right now. Even with that upgrade lead, they're sitting at about, what, 2,000 HP of bulk. It's kind of hard, and Baneling speed being done. Clem not really able to get on top of Reynor's bases. And also, we got a Ling run by. I guess it was maybe looking for a surround, a run by, but right now it's just kind of sitting there. Liberator goes down as well. Reynor, it feels like he's safely got into his muta play. Clem does not quite have the agency he once had.
No, he does not. He's got to be a little bit more careful right now with those smaller amounts of bio. By the way, the creep somehow snuck over the rocks here. It got pretty darn far up while we were watching the other side of the map. But it looks like Clem is getting ready for that next stage in the game. He does have his 4th command center almost done. Drilling Claws on the way. 2-2 has been started as well. So definitely looking to get into a better spot in battling against Ling Bane Muta.
That it is, and I think the interesting point here, Clem has been really judicious with his Hellion play. He didn't really lose much of anything, so now, hey, you know what? He's got tanks, he's got Widow Mines on the way, but he's also got about 6 Hellbats that are really going to do a good job of at least maybe soaking some Baneling shots. I mean, you don't really want those anyways, but man, if they get some big swaths on the Lings, it's going to be a problem, because now Clem looking to stim on in here, looking to get his aggression in earnest. Mutas are on the other side. They're not really going to help out here right now, but the surround that Reynor is setting up is a rather terrifying one. That, and of course, we got a run by on the other side, but no, Clem gets on top of this 4th base immediately. Drones are going to get pulled here. Baneling's looking to run on in. Clem, though, with his pre-split, is doing a pretty good job here to start, and he will find his way on in. But of course, on the other side of the map, Artosis, this run by, it's finding good damage too.
Oh man, it really is. 14 SCVs dying already. In fact, he might end up getting more damage, but no, the hatchery gets killed off. Clem with a great push, setting this up and getting the damage that he really does need. In the meantime, landing his 4th command center. He has to lift the 3rd for now, but that won't be permanent.
That one, eventually the rally will be there. Eventually he will be able to deal with this. But look at this, 1-1 is now done. There are so many Banelings on the way. This army that Reynor has to fight the fight of Clem is just, it's not as weak as it once was. Although mutas, you don't want to fight that there. That's a bunch of mutas going down. We're going to see the spawning pool get targeted down here, but no. Reynor will be able to keep it alive for just a moment, but now Clem goes back on and says, yeah, those Lings, maybe I don't want you to have those. And oh, there we go. He's going to keep himself alive. Spawning pool, though, it's so low, Artosis, and there we go. It does go down.
Okay, that's a pretty big kill, but of course the spawning has already been restarted by Reynor. He knew that was going to happen. These tanks so expertly placed. What great harassment in the main base here from Clem, just showing his brute force like that last game. On top of everything, it doesn't even matter what unit set you go for against this guy. Yeah,
Clem is just too fast, too strong. And look, Reynor, even that counter harass that he had, that Muta force that was doing such a good job of forcing maybe Clem back, at least forcing him to be distracted, he lost half, 3/4 of that Muta flock to the rally of Clem. So he doesn't even really have that going for him anymore. But of course, we got to point out, yes, the base went down. Reynor does have one in the upper left. He's still building his economy a little bit. And if he holds, his economy's in a good spot. But Tosis, it's not a question of when he holds, it's a question of if, because as you said, the power, oh no, the mismicro there just a little bit, but no, he will be able to keep it alive. Okay. Ooh, that got scary.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that click was, but in the meantime, he has 4 medevacs coming over here and carpet bombing out his Marines. Burrows a couple mines in here as well, harassing that drone line, killing a couple of overlords. Oh, the Ling's coming down on top of the mines. Great pickup. Ferries the units back up against the other hatchery, and look at this. The multitasking of Clem is absolutely insane. Those queens don't look like they're getting transfused. He will lose some of his medevacs over here, but the main hatchery may end up going down.
I mean, luckily for Reynor, at least, yeah, no, it does go down, actually. I was going to say, look, he's got transfuses, but he just does not spend them. Focused, I guess, on the drop on the other side. So, where is our count at? It is 2 bases down for Clem already. He is mining on 4. Yeah, his SCV count's not as nice as it could be. You know, he could be up at 80 or something because of that run by. But, look, he's killed 2 bases. His upgrades, they're in a decent spot. He has forgotten armor, which is a problem. But this relentless pressure from the Frenchman is it starting to break Reynor? It kind of feels like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. This is pretty crazy to see. He's already 40% more efficient right now, and he's got 4 bases up. A great place for him to be at. Now, he lays a bunch of those Widow Mines out, but enough units are coming in that he does have to pick up and get out of there. But another force pushing up into the natural. Oh my god, the Baneling Nest is here, but a large group of Ling Bane come up, so it looks like he is going to have to run out, maybe pushing a little too far, a little too fast.
Well, all that did really is allowed Clem to drop back into the main base, but unfortunately for Clem, there's actually nothing there anymore. He's killed it all already. So that's not going to work out for him. He's suffering from success, Artosis.
Yeah, you no longer need to push that area, truthfully. Eventually that spawning pool will bleed out. But it looks like Clem is maybe seesawing his attention more to the left side of the map now. He's expanding over here to the right. We see him going to land a command center, but the Muta's finding this, so he's got to be careful, right? Most of his units have been on the left side. They do stim and run over before he loses too much. And this is going to be base number 5 for Clem.
Well, yeah, you know, more bases are better than less bases. We should point out, Reynor, he got a lot of medevacs there, and that is not something that is... you can replace it. You got double starport. It's fine. But also, you know, you want that energy there. You do want that constant healing. Knocking that down, this maybe... I'm just not going to be too excited about it, but... Now he says, look, the mutas, they're gone. I got my base up, kind of. Let me go. And, you know, the best way to force mutas on the other side is a big Widowmine shot. Is, hey, it's going to get a couple mutas here, but the target fire is good. And actually, Clem, I said he's going to go on the other side, force the mutas back. No, it's the mutas that are forcing him back as Baneling's looking to run on in as well. Reynor looking to find a way back into this game. And hey, you know what? Oh, that's a lot of dead SCVs. Oh, into the Banelings too. 19 more workers go down, and there's no army here. The 3rd command center, Artosis, it's dead.
That is a great move, but Clem counterpunching right here, right now. Oh my god, beautifully shreds those Banes, but more Lings and Banes coming up now, getting a nice surround off against this army. Almost all the Marauders are gone. Most of the mines have been set off. So let's see if Reynor can actually clear this army. If he can, then I think he's going to actually start to be in pretty decent shape here, but I'm not so sure that he's going to be able to.
Well, you fly those mutas on top of that is something here, because the Bio just got to go and run it. Oh, so many medevacs. Artosis, they're all going down. The army of Clem, in the blink of an eye, it's dead.
Just shattered. It really felt like he was in a great position, but you know, his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness here. Pushing so fast and so hard into that base, doesn't have enough to combat the Banelings on the creep, and he lost a lot there, man. That's very painful. But you know what? He's still in this game. The game absolutely not over. He's got his 3-3 against 2-2, so still has that 2 upgrade advantage as well.
That he does. And, you know, yeah, he lost a command center. He lost an orbital, most importantly, which is, you know, not the best. You do want scans. You do want mules. But as you said, look, he's still on 5 bases somehow because his name is Clem. And if he's going to be able to find some way to deal with these mutas, he's still going to be able, yeah, as you said, going to be able to contest this game. But the big deal, more than anything else, is Reynor has put himself pressure on the map. Clem is not going to be able to run across the map all that easily because the mutas, at this point, with how small the Marine count is, they can just kind of go wherever they want.
Yeah. Just the fact that he has control right now, I think, is such a big deal. We see him kind of macroing up. He is adding in a few drones here and there as well. And that's a bit scary because look at all the bases that are on the map. Like, Reynor has 4 fresh or fresh-ish bases right now, which is That's a big economy. He's maxing out here once again, 84 drones. That's the type of drone count where you can go like endless Lingbane.
Yeah, really, that does seem to be the inflection point. Mutas, they're going to find a little bit of bio here, and play at the edge of things, knock down some Marines, some Marauders before they are forced on back. And hey, look, anything you knock down from the army before the fight really kicks off in earnest, it is going to be nice. But as much as you say, look, 88 drones, that's a fantastic army. This is still a lair tech Reynor. He's going to start to grow out of it now. Yeah. He does have his infestation bit down, but this army will never trade well against what Clem is doing. Not unless something really bad happens, say Clem picks up everything in medevacs and loses all of them over some dead airspace. That would never happen.
Maybe one of those misclicks again as well, where his army runs forward into Banes, but not that likely to have happen. Now the Muta's going for a counterattack, while Clem is getting ready to try to kill off this base, which, by the way, hasn't really had drones at it yet. Now a huge amount of Banes actually rolling in towards this planetary here.
Look at this, though.
Doesn't get as much as I thought he would.
That's actually really cool there, Clem. He pulls off half the SCVs and half of them. Oh, look at the trap. Oh, my goodness. Artosis, that's so many Mutas going down there, Clem. Springing forth the jaws. And that should guarantee him this base, but no, Reynor looking to move on in here. Clem microing up the ramp, trying not to get caught. So many of those Marines will go on down here. Great move from Clem to kill the Mutas, but now he is again on pickup and run. He got caught on the ramp, and that's not what you want.
Yeah, a trap turns into a trap there for Clem, unfortunately. You kill a bunch of Mutas and then you lose a bunch of Marines. So a tough moment for him. That base, I mean, still you want to kill it, but it's not mining right now. So looks like he is going to seesaw once again over towards the right-hand side of the map. A brand new started hatchery will get canceled immediately while the rest of his units come up to help.
You know, Artosis, I can't decide whether, wow, Clem is reading this game so well, he always has his Marines where they need to be to catch the Mutas, or it's Reynor's reading this game so well, he always has the Mutas where they need to be to catch the Marines. I think it's a little bit of both. But for now here, Reynor moving in. No, he's not going to be able to get too much done. But yeah, Mutas, they find the main base, and the Clem's army's on the right side.
I tell you what, maybe it's not even the reading that these guys are like so good that they're reading where everything is. Maybe it's more like these guys are so fast and have so many units that they're actually both everywhere at all times. A couple of Dr. Manhattans going at it. Now a bunch of Lings running down. He's trying to get this new base set up. It seems like this side of the map is going to be where the battles are for a bit.
That makes sense. When we look at Hardwire, it really does come down to the upper right base that we're looking at right now and kind of the bottom left on that horizontal, that diagonal horizontal, because those bases are so damn hard for the Terran to take and for the Zerg to take. And as, for whatever reason, Hardwire just loves to go to the split map situation. It does make it hard, but hey, Artosis, hold that thought. Lings, Banes, Mutas, they're going to find the natural. There's not a big army here from Clem. He's all on the right side. But actually, no, it looks like he kept a lot of stuff in the main base here. Widowmine doing a great job. Clem coming on in from the side. So many Mutas going on down. And this looked like it was going to be incredible for Reynor. Clem was out of position, but no, Clem was not out of position. He, like a wizard, was exactly where he needed to be.
I know. I'm actually a little bit surprised he had that many units up there, but oh god, as the other units came back to help out against Reynor's attack, so many Banelings roll in and blow up that planetary. A very painful moment. Instantly loses his new base.
And the big deal here, despite us being, what, 20 minutes into this game, there's not an immediate replacement. It's not one of those games where, look, yeah, you killed the planetary, but there are 5 bases around it, so it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be a while before Clem mines from that one again. But look, he does get a kill on the building hatchery. Reynor, I guess, looking somewhere else. So, look, both players, effectively, they kind of have every base, almost every base they can reasonably be expected to take in this game. And somehow, well, somehow this game's still going.
Yeah, well, we're getting into like a really funny location, especially with how late that hive was. But as we go towards Mutas in 3-3, that does make me nervous for Clem. Like, can you imagine these battles that we've been having, but add 3 ultras in on top of it? Like, that's going to be very tough for Clem to end up dealing with, and he may have to add more tech. And actually, we see him doing that already. Ghosts now in production.
Yeah, and Ghost, of course, the ultimate answer to ultras. And actually, surprisingly enough, you get up to like 10 of them. They're really good against Mutas, too, because of that bonus damage to light. And it's kind of depressing how good they are. But anyways, Mutas here, they're going to fly on in. It looks like they take a Widowmine shot, but it's going to be fine. And you want to talk about this game. I mean, we are talking about this game. Reynor's Muta control, for the most part, the way he has been just forcing Clem around the map, It really is. It is so incredible.
Yeah, and I think that you have to be able to do this if you want to be just a top-level player. The very, very best Zergs in the world do this with their mutas, and, like, you know, you're down 2 upgrades all game. Those mutas have to make things happen, and he has been on top of that as well. Clem with a little attack here, but the mutas, once again, making things happen. Look at that. He just killed a factory. So what we get? We got a gas on this side by Clem, and then he loses a factory to those mutas.
Yeah, so that's a starport down, a factory down. The production of Clem is actually kind of hurting a little bit. He will not be able to build, say, maybe Liberators to deal with all. I mean, that's not our traditional answer anymore, but certainly no more medevacs, nothing like that for the time being. You do want tanks, maybe, but whatever he wants. I mean, he just has less production now, and how do you kill a Terran, Artosis?
Well, you get on top of their production, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's certainly a way that we see a lot of Terrans end up dying. And, you know, losing that, obviously, very, very painful. He is remaking the factory, so you see that it does mean a lot to Clem right now. Also, throwing down a bunch of command centers. We have another gigantic attack going over towards his base in the bottom right. Clem trying to hold on against all of this Mutalisk harassment, but he keeps getting drawn out of position. Look at this. Planetaries can't fly. Maybe it's time to not use a planetary there anymore.
Yeah, but Tosis, I'm not totally sure that that was worth it for Reynor at the end of the day. I mean, look, Clem just bought 5 command centers. If you saw the production tab, I mean, he's exploding. And that was 20, 30 banelings, a lot of lings in that fight. That starts to become very expensive in the late game. And yeah, Reynor, look, he was sitting at a 5K bank for a second. He has no gas anymore, right? That was a lot of banelings here. Yes, 7 Ultras, 30 Banes are where that went. But he does that a couple more times, and it stops becoming cost-effective.
No, you're definitely right about that. Well, I mean, that's the current state of Zerg, right? Is they don't really play the cost-effective game against Terran. You see these great Terrans like Clem and Maru, and they're so much more cost-efficient, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win, because look at the amount of bases Reynor has had this entire time. He's still maxed out. He's still got pretty darn good income, but you're definitely right. Over time, Clem may be able to just hold on against these inefficient trades.
And I think the big thing we got to point out here is, yes, look, Reynor is trading less effectively, but he's mining a whole lot more. He has not taken any of Clem's bases yet. Right, that's the point when we look at this game, as it kind of does almost appear to be trending toward the split map scenarios. Another command center will get canceled, where suddenly, wait, there's no production in the Terran main base. There is, the mutas have gotten so much. There's like, what, 1 barracks in the main base? That's it at this point? That is insane.
Well, at least he doesn't really need to defend it anymore, right? I mean, glass is half full, I guess. Yeah, it's getting pretty gross, pretty tough. The planetary takes a ton of damage right there, but Reynor has to back up. He's got a lot of ultras in that army now, but yeah, you're making me wonder, like, his production is getting lower and lower and lower. Like, Clem is having a hard time with everything right now. Now the orbital goes down. He's lifting everything off. This is starting to look like a Reynor victory right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how many orbitals we have left. Yeah, go down to 40 workers is fine, but only if you have the mules. And yeah, there we go. We're going to have ultras run on in. Snipes are decent, but they're not going to kill any of them yet. And with the economy as bad as it is, again, for Clem, you do need to make sure you kill those ultras. You need to punish Reynor every time he moves into you, because he will just continue to grow. And yeah, his bank, it went down to 0 for a second, but look, it's already back up.
Yeah, it's pretty wild the amount of mining that is going on right now. Reynor retaking that base once again. Few units left to defend the remaining, like, 4 supply depots and barracks in that main base. I think most of the production has been moved over towards the 4th base location. But, like, the amount of ultras that we're seeing, the amount of Banes still out there, I can't imagine Clem being able to hold on much longer, right?
Yeah, look at that. The Ghosts are caught at the front here, so steady targeting. No snipes, finding what they want. Another planetary looks like it's going to go down. More and more Banes rolling on in. Reynor saying, yeah, this game is over now. I don't want to take this anymore. So we're going to see whether he can kill off the army, but the Ultras, they're all dead. The planetary is going to go down, though, with the last Bane. It does fall. A couple Ultras looks like they're going to get cleaned up at the end of things. And Clem, he's mining on 1 base right now, I think.
Yeah, I think you're just about right. He is floating over another command center to try to retake another one. Here down goes a hatchery. I'm not sure exactly how many mineral patches are left for Reynor, but it's not that many. The problem is, though, he is still max. He's still got a scary army. Let's see what Clem can get done. Microing frantically here at a base that he's already killed before. Does have to pick up dives towards the main that has almost nothing left in it. It did get that hatchery remade and everything. He is going to be pretty efficient against these lings, but when the ultras come up, you have to run.
I mean, Artosis, look at the supply. Even as Clem trades somewhat cost effectively, we just see his army supply is not refilling. He's actually mining about 3 minerals a second. It's just not, he's not getting anything out of the map anymore. So yeah, sure, he can trade as cost effectively as he wants. It doesn't matter. If you don't have the money, you don't have a game. So now we're going to see Reynor looking to catch the last of this army of Clem. He says, look, you played a good game. I've played a better one. Reynor, he ties the series up.
Man, I am super hyped right now. That is awesome that Clem is actually at that Team Liquid at TL facility. Having the other pros around, giving you that moral support. Haven't seen that for Reynor yet, have we?
Nope, he's sitting in London in his apartment, jamming out to Italian rap. And we actually see something different in this game, actually, Artosis. It's not your standard. No hatch gas pool, no. 12 pool. Or early pool.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like maybe he's expecting for Clem to mix it up and go for like a quick proxy racks. Maybe he figured it out as well. He's like, oh, I can't be losing a drone to that Reaper. And maybe the pool first is going to give you that quicker queen. Maybe you push it back. But there is a Reaper on the way right now. Only a couple lings being made alongside that queen for Reynor, so it doesn't seem like anything too aggressive to start, even though it is that pool first.
Yeah, Toastus, I kind of would have expected on the whole balance of things. Wouldn't expect this to be a map where Clem goes and 2 Rexes. I would expect it to be the next one, right? Glittering Ashes, it's a much bigger map. It's a lot easier to hide a barracks. And it's a map that's not exactly as Terran favored. If Clem says, look, I'm feeling good on my map picks, why would I, throw caution to the wind, go flip that coin and hope it works? Although, as we all know, the win rate of 2 and 3 racks in tournament play is incredible. I never see it lose.
The good old memes, man. I've never seen it lose too. Let's make some tweets about it. But yeah, no, I see what you mean. But right, you do want to maintain a little bit of unpredictability, I guess. So maybe that's a nod for Reynor, where he's like, trying to play the double mind game here, where it's like, yeah, it's your map, so you shouldn't do it, so you will do it maybe. So then I defend, and at the end of the day, it doesn't work out, but it's not like he's super far behind after the pool opener.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. It does kind of guarantee that the Reaper doesn't get a drone. So, hey, you know what? It's been solved.
No damage. There we go. We got it. The starport is on the way. Third base going down right now for Reynor. The Reaper just making its rounds, poking everything, seeing where everyone's at. But no damage going to be coming anytime soon.
Nice little handshake. Although he will get a creep tumor. There we go. That's actually pretty impactful with how aggressive and how absolutely disgusting Reynor's creep spread has been over the first couple games. It's exponential. So you knock down 1 and that's 3 in a minute or 2 that you do not have to deal with anymore. But hey, Artosis, we saw a pool first from Reynor. We got something also fancy coming down from the young Frenchman.
Yes, look at this. Looks like we're going to have a battle cruiser rush coming out of Clem. I love to see it. Now, is this going to be a battle cruiser rush into mech, or is it going to be into bio? Because it does feel like Clem is especially good at bio, but mech goes better with BC rushes.
This is true, and Clem did play mech against Cure yesterday in that 5th game, and what was truly an incredible series. Yes, it's a different matchup. TVT is not TVZ, but I have seen Clem play mech before where he thinks it's worthwhile. Back when it was, I forget what the map name was. Anyway, it was really good he did play it for like the first week, and then he said, no, I'm good at bio anyways. So it's not without precedent, but as you said, it is rather rare. But what better way to absolutely throw Reynor off his game than to play mech in the semifinals here?
No, I like it. I think it's good in a best of 5 to mix in a BC build anyways, right? Like, it's still pretty solid. It's not what it once was, where everyone's like, oh my god, is this imbalanced? But you can get some damage done with it. It does a lot of work for you throughout the game, to be honest. And you can kind of force the game into a different direction. Now, hold on. He is making a barracks, a couple barracks now. So this is going to be a bio follow-up to the BC, which is not as common, but I think it fits Clem's style.
And actually, the question now we're going to be asking ourselves is, how many BCs does he make? Is it just the one? All right, of just the really the minimal commitment BC play, does he go to 3 into bio, which maybe that's a more Maru style? I don't know.
I think my gut is it's 1, but we'll see here in a moment. Like if you're going bio with it, I think you got to switch up immediately. And look at this, he actually teleports on top of double spore. Like, so well done by Reynor. That'll push it back quicker than it would normally be. Already over half health gone. 4 drones have been killed overall from this BC, so, I mean, not too bad so far.
Yeah, 4 drones, and you did force double spore. That is not going to be the most expensive thing. Ling's looking for surround as well, but they die. So BC, yeah, okay, it really can't get too much more here, but look at this. Hellions maybe diving in, but no, okay, Queens are where they need to be. Reynor, he was not fooled. He did not keep them in the main base. He says, look, okay, Hellions, they're my threat right now as the BC runs home, and we've got to pause.
Oh, okay, well, ping exploding. All right, well, we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully they can get that fixed ASAP. You know, you never want people to be playing when the ping goes up suddenly. Give it a moment.
All right. So we got the countdown now. We're going to get back into it.
All right. Yeah, looks like everything is fine.
All right. Yeah, there we are. So BCA is going to get his pound of flesh. Overlord does go down, and that's something.
Yeah, I mean, you just want it to be useful throughout, right? It can do some scouting, some harassing. It can kind of help pick off Lings that are trying to do counterattacks. It's a very useful unit overall. Now, back at home, we actually have a Hydralisk den here for Reynor. So it looks like it's probably going to be Ling Bane Hydra, which... What do you think about that as a choice here? We're seeing Reynor really run the gamut as far as different unit choices.
You know, Artosis, I think this is going to be a Hydraling Bane bust, and that sounds really weird, but it's okay. I think it's only single Evo. It's Carapace going down. This is a really quick Hydra Den for your actual standard Hydra play. Maybe that's a reactor to the BCs. I don't know, but again, this is a little weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, it's a good call on the 1 Evo. Like, I'm not sure how you would go about trying to bust a Terran with this. It seems like more of an anti-Protoss build, but we'll see about that. Now, some heavy aggression coming out of Clem. He does siege in a beautiful location, putting some damage on with those Marines, pulls back the Hellions, which are massively damaged near that siege tank, and starting to force through some of the transfusions on these Queens.
And there we go. Okay, so it is double Evo, just melee's a little bit slower, and okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Now, pushing forward here, once again, the Queens continuing to do the little dance. He did wait for that 1-1 before jumping in once again, so he has this 2 upgrade advantage, which is a pretty big deal. The siege tank being pushed forward a little bit, another tank being ferried out by this medevac. A few more Marines as well to join the battle.
And this is where it starts to get a little scarier when this tank actually starts to siege up, maybe not the 3rd base, but near the 3rd base. It gets a little bit harder for Reynor to aggress in, but Artosis, mainly speed is done. Right, that makes this army for Reynor much more powerful. No, Clem, you've got to split that man.
Oh, man. Well, he was looking at this little counterattack back at his base, so he loses every Marine that was going after that hatchery. That's too bad. That did not have to look like that, and they both know it. So a great move by Reynor, right? You bring the attention up to the counterattack, and then you slaughter the army that's attacking you. He has to be feeling like $1 million after those connections.
Oh, really? Absolutely. And on Reynor's map, or excuse me, on Clem's map pick as well. This is the one where I looked at it and said, yeah, okay, Clem, 2-1, and then Reynor takes 2-2. But Ling's on into the 3rd base now here, and this is where Reynor starts to get scary. If you let him, you give him an inch, he suddenly says, look, Ling's everywhere on the other side of the map. I'm never letting you get on my side of the map again. I'm going to get so oppressive, and I'm going to explode, and then the map, well, it just becomes mine. So for now, Clem has to make that happen. But Artosis, we've been talking about it all game. Look at this freaking creep spread.
Yeah, it's getting pretty far out there. And he is starting to clear it a little bit while his BC does some funny harassment at the hatchery that's morphing in. A couple scans going down here and there. He does meet up with that same high ground position that actually hasn't been busted yet, but another Ling counterattack coming in. No defensive units here. So that's an issue. Oh my god, Lingbane Hydra coming up, clears out those Hellbats very quickly, but I mean, those are not as important. A tank gets sieged as he pushes down with his Bioforces. Can he actually pick off this hatchery?
Yeah, this started to become a little bit scary here for Reynor. Yeah, not can he, will he? The base goes down. Reynor back down to 4 here. Clem, his economy is not incredible. I mean, he has taken some damage, but it's still in a damn fine spot. And we gotta remember, Artosis, Clem has the tech, the good tech, right? He's got tanks that is really good against this Lingbane Hydra style. It will make it a little harder for Reynor to take anything short of a big 360 surround. So the base goes down. Reynor now positioning on the middle of the map, maybe looking to catch the army as it goes on home. But for now, with that move, it feels like Clem has maybe brought himself back, stabilized, you know, just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, once you kill a base like that, you're that efficient, you're definitely feeling good about yourself in this game right now. Ooh, that's a bit painful. I mean, that's a lot of supply just flushed down the toilet, unfortunately. He is pushing back some of this creep. Look at how ridiculously close this is. It's almost touching the command center there and some of his production that he's thrown down as well.
That is insane. You know, people will say, yeah, look, if your creep spread gets to your opponent's third base, you've won the game. I'm not going to so go far to say that in this game because, I mean, Clem just got a base. He's Clem. He's playing pretty damn well. But, I mean, that just goes to show. I think this is probably some of the best creep spread I've seen on this map in this matchup in ever. Probably ever.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a great job of it. And he's being very aggressive right now, which I think he's just trying to buy time because his hive is a little bit late in comparison to where Clem is at this game. Clem actually has a very healthy amount of tanks, and he's maxed out, and he's about to have 2-2, which is pretty strong against Lingbane Hydra if you have enough tanks. But hold on, comes up and clears some of those tanks. A bunch of the bio going down as well. It looks like he's only going to have 1 tank left over here, but enough units coming down that I think he is going to get another hatch.
Artosis, any fight against a Terran is always 2 fights. The one where your Banelings connect and then what happens afterwards. Yes, the Banelings got good connections, but there's the counter, the reinforcements coming from behind. So Reynor, he did lose another base. Now Reynor, he's going to have to defend this push. It is scary, but there we go. Lings on in, Hydra's on the high ground, knocking the tank down. But as we said, the second fight, that's what you're worried about.
Yeah. I tell you, with the tank going down, trying to get up this ramp, I don't think this is a good move from Clem. Not even Clem can micro against that. Like, if Reynor just attack moves down that ramp, you are not going to be able to stop that. Like, we could have Maru, Bjorn, and Clem all micro at the same time, and I think Reynor is holding that base right now. But he is sending out some medevacs elsewhere, so maybe he can draw a part of this army to defend elsewhere. And if it doesn't, maybe this drop itself can do some damage.
And that'd certainly be nice for Clem fans. One thing I want to point out here is, oh, look at the target fire there. A couple Banelings will go down, but still forced back. Clem's 3-3 is late. He had a significant window where his upgrades were done, his opponent was not. But I guess really leaning into this idea of hitting this timing, maxing out on it. So that does allow Reynor to come back into it. He's not going to be fighting 3-3 versus 2-2 for that long. His Lurker Den is just about done. Vipers are on the way. That scary tech timing, well, Clem's going to have to find another one when he hits, what, 12, 15 ghosts and really starts to put the hammer and tongs. But the Zerg is hitting a peak of strength right now.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. When you see Vipers popping out and you see all the Lurker upgrades starting to finish, this is really where Zerg hits that end game that's so powerful, where they can get insanely cost efficient. So we're gonna have to see more Ghost production, like you mentioned, maybe a lot of siege tanks as well. Generally, you can't just go for one or the other. You need at least a couple kind of anti-Lurker units.
Yeah, it's funny. You watch Maru play, he says, yeah, look, I get 16 ghosts. I literally need nothing else in this game. I'm going to beat you with those units.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good luck to you taking down Reynor with only snipes. He is producing 2 tanks, 3 ghosts at a time. Okay, so that's kind of what I do want to see here. The tanks are going to give you some stability, and the ghosts are going to give you a lot of value. That BC still alive somehow, up to 16 kills, still flying around. I love the utility of it. It's definitely paid for itself and then some.
Ooh, nice target fire there on the Widow Mine as well. But look, I think this base just gets canceled here. But hey, the buyer rotates around. That's going to be a bunch of dead lings. Importantly, though, ghosts are going down. And I know maybe I'm belaboring the point a little bit, and actually hold that thought, because Banelings into the planetary as well. Ghosts, well, they don't matter. Blinding Cloud on the planetary, on the tank, does mean that planet is dead, right? Clem's back on 4 bases. This is going to happen until Clem is really able to force Reynor back.
Yeah, and I mean, this is always a tough part of the game right now. You see how far out Clem is getting stretchy. His base is all over the place. He's still trying to keep pressure on as well, but Reynor's counterattacks are going to do a great job. Look at this, a couple yanks in, and will end up killing a tank and a ghost. Not absolutely the best there, but he does still have these siege tanks kind of helping him to shell this base. Not that many ghosts in here, though.
Yeah, you got to really hit that critical mass of ghosts. So we've seen Reynor really focus on that abducting ghosts, using his linger unbind not to, kill workers, but to kill those ghosts. Because once they hit high energy, once they get personal cloaking, which they don't have yet, to be fair, they become so effective against this style. So we're going to see a couple snipes go down, a couple lurkers will fall, but at this point, the lurker count is really high in this position. It's hard for Clem to break for the moment. So Reynor says, yeah, look, your entire army is there. That means I can run by. My lings can hit your third. I can start to get on top of your production. And yes, ghosts are good against light units. Tanks are good against lings, kind of. But more stuff does beat less stuff here. So all of the defense for Clem will go down. He's going to force the entirety of Clem's army back, but it's slow and rotating. So Reynor now into the natural, into the main base, start to camp the production. This is the damage that the Italian has been looking for the entirety of this game in Artosis. I think he's found it.
Yeah, that many lings. Look at the mini-map. Everything is blinking red right now for Clem, unfortunately. He's got a very damaged army up here trying to break through a ridiculously efficient containment. Defense. This is, everything's on fire. Clem really looks like he's in trouble.
You know what, Artosis? It's a defensive containment. That is exactly what it is. But, man, these Marines are so low. Abducts on the Ghost as well. Just makes you need snipes to kill this army, and you don't have those. 43 SCVs are dead. Production has been denied. And this is the exact same thing we saw in that last game. Clem looked good. He was outplaying Reynor, and then the late game happened. And Reynor said, no.
Dude, it's so hard to hold on against this level of Zergling harassment. I think Reynor probably the best in the world at that type of move, and he shows exactly why. He runs up now, and we're not even going to wait for the explosions. Clem taps out, and Reynor going to take the advantage. Now up 2-1. All right. Nothing proxied. No pool first. Was it a lost opportunity, or does Clem just have something else planned?
Yeah, I don't know. What I do think is interesting, though, is it's probably not going to make a big difference in this game, but look at the barracks positioning from Clem. Right? It is not in the wall.
It kind of feels like he's trying to hide something, maybe an add-on or something like that. Not entirely sure.
It's just an in-base Macarax. In TVP, we've started to see Macarax is 40% on the map, and we can't call it a Praxi because it's only 40%. Well, this is the opposite, right? It just clear the normal evolution.
It's even further away, in fact. Well, we'll see what. I think it'll become clear. I'd be surprised if it's not for some sort of add-on play that you're trying to avoid an Overlord peeking in and seeing, right? Like, that's the only thing that comes to mind why you would put it in that location specifically. It's so far for an Overlord to fly in. Marines can kill it off easily before it sees anything. He did make a factory above it, so yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, and of course, you also have the opportunity, as you said with that Marine, that Reynor says, I need the scout. Well, okay, Marine Overlord maybe does go down, but there we go. We have the reactor, we have the factory before a natural, and Clem is just playing a TVT build now.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. This is kind of interesting. Maybe those very early reactor Hellions, which I assume that's what we're going to end up seeing here. If he starts pumping out mines, I'm going to lose my mind. But maybe having him out this quickly can throw his opponent off. Like, that happens in high-level StarCraft sometimes. You're very used to certain timings of things coming in, and then it gets altered slightly, and you're like, oh, that's 5 seconds faster or whatever, and you're just not ready.
Yeah, Artosis, you know what? Yeah, you're right. It is going to be Hellions reacted out, but we got a proxy starport as well. Clem is back against the wall, and he says, look, I got nothing to hide anymore, as this Ling will not scout that. Let me throw the oddest thing I can think of, and hopefully it works out. Hopefully it works out.
Well, nothing to hide except for that starport, right? Like that,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing here. He's going to be doing that Hellion drop ASAP. There is one lane coming up and around. No Hellions have actually gone down the ramp yet. If he can get this off without it being seen, there is a path that he can get out without anything being seen, but I don't know if he's going to hit it, right? Like, he has a Marine over here, or oh no, he is. Look at this. Goes right down. This hasn't been seen yet.
Secret agent Hellions going around. Is he going to see the Overlord? Okay, so Reynor last second says, okay, 4 Hellions. This is a little bit early, but look at the Hellions. They're kind of taking a normal path right now, and that is Queens at the front. Oh, wait, is he going to fake the medevac in the main? No, okay. Just pick up. There we go. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work that fake, but here we go. Drops off 4 Hellions into the main base. Let's see how many kills he can get. Goes right in between the pool and hatch. Not a bad location. Takes some heavy damage on one of these Hellions. Hasn't gotten any drones yet, and he's just going to pick up. Okay, I like the retreat. It wasn't going quite well enough yet.
Artosis, can we talk about how Reynor handled that? Because that was absolutely disgusting. Yes, okay. The pool position, not the best. The Hellions wedge their way on in. Lings die. But there were enough Queens there, and with the Spore block and the Evo Chamber block and everything else, I mean, you would expect Reynor to take some level of damage there. But he says, no, look, Clem, I'm too good. Why are you doing this? Stop. Just go back. Play a normal game. It's your best shot, but this is not it, Chief.
Well, I think that Reynor, like, dealt with it very well. He only saw the medevac at the very last second, but, you know, also he saw the Hellions, and they were at kind of a weird time and running around in a weird area. So, you know, I think he looked at that. He kept drones off of his third, and then just pulled the Queens back to a more central location. So it was, like, great crisis management, and to just block that completely, you know, Clem, he did hurt his own economy a little bit to try to pull that off, and it didn't really do anything, like you said.
Yeah, you know, there is a cool follow-up here, though, as we do have effectively what is it, 2-1-1. I believe there are 2 barracks on the maybe 3, but Stim is done, and we do have medevacs on the field, at least one of them. So Clem will be able to have a second gun in the barrel, a second, I guess, cannonball in the barrel. There we go. He will have that second level of pressure on the map. And of note, Bailey Nest is not done, but Reynor has been building links here or there. He is aware of the possibility that, look, this was a Hellion drop. I know, Clem, that you committed hard to this. I have to be ready for the follow-up, and he should be fine. Yeah, I know. I would definitely tend to agree with you on that. I like the kind of spread that we're seeing right now from Reynor, right? We have the creep going out in a couple different directions. Here the Marines come, though, against this hatchery. The Queen's definitely a bit out of position against this. Quite a few Lings running up, and will push us back. No canceled hatchery as of yet. Hey, you know what? Knocking an Overlord, that's always going to be nice, denying map vision, sure, but I can't help but have the feeling that in this game, this has always been something where Clem has gotten just not quite as much as he would like, but I believe there's an armory down here as well, and we got the tank here coming on in. Marine stimming on for the Queens. It's only the Queens to defend. The tank says, I'm not even going to bother siege up. Now I am, as the Lings arrive, and so many Queens are starting to fall here. Has Clem caught Reynor off guard with this push? It looks like he has. Queens are starting to fall here. Lings, they're going to get the tank on the backside, but Artosis, if you knock down every Queen, doesn't even matter. Oh my god, the Lings coming up, but too little, too late. The drones are fighting here. So many have died. 14 drones fall. The Queen's getting picked off. Every last one of them. GG is called, and we're going to map 5. Okay. So, 2,000 atmospheres. I mean, we already saw a BC opener, but this was like, you know, when this map first came out, this was like the BC map. Like, you could probably just blind counter BC when this map first arrived, because that big empty airspace behind the main and natural. Could we see that again from Clem? It didn't feel as powerful as his other games, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, in fairness, we saw Reynor really almost overcommit. I mean, he committed perfectly, but more than we would see a normal Zerg do with that double Spore in the main base. I'm actually not sure what he saw that made that happen, because, I mean, the Spore was done in time. It's not like he was reburrowing. So maybe there's room that if Clem can sell it a little bit better. But also, Artosis, saying that this is the proxy B, or the BC map, well, does that show us how good the map is for BCs, or does that just show us how long this map has been in the pool?
Yeah, I guess a little from column A, a little from column B there. You definitely don't have to go BCs anymore. That's what I always think about when I see this map. That and the fact that, you know, things float up when they die, which is always fun. You get some of those crazy angel-like moments. But we have first a little bit of an SCV scout. We definitely haven't seen this every game, but you know, that just checks the hatchery timing here to make sure that no crazy shenanigans are coming out of Reynor.
That it is, and yeah, I mean, Clem, standard build, just the same. Although, was this okay, that is a Reaper opener. So, Artosis, now we get to ask ourselves the question, we're about 2.5 minutes in this game. Does Clem win right here, right now? Does he get that drone, or does Reynor, you know, secure his advantage?
Yeah, I can't imagine him getting another drone. Like, that's a once in a best of 5 maximum type of thing. Queen pops out. I mean, you've damaged everything a little bit, but that's about that. Reaper gonna have to back up a little bit at this point. I love the little micro that Clem does. Like, his micro really is kind of next level. He reminds me of a younger Bjorn. Like, you see this little dance that he does with the Reaper. He's like, no, stay off creep. Just stay slightly off creep.
Just a little shimmy, you know. Now, Artosis, we got to talk about the pressure these players are under just a little bit. We're 20,000 leagues under the sea. That's 2,000 atmospheres. That's pretty intense there. But luckily, of course, Clem, he's in his spaceship, so he should be fine. And I guess, you know, do Zergs really deal with stuff like that? I don't think so.
It doesn't seem so, since mutas can fly through space. Like, I think that, you know, different pressures don't really mean too much to them. You know what? You've broken the depth of this for me now. I'm just, oh man, they aren't really underwater, are they? All the units are moving normal.
You know what? That or just the height of Terran technology. That's how that works. And of course, we know queens are just imba as anything, so they can go through any sort of water just fine. As now, Clem, yeah, he's not going to find too much on the right side.
No, not yet. Still just kind of rotating around with this little group. Don't want to see him try to dive, right? We did see that, I think, game 1, where he dived in with the first 2 Hellions and Reaper. But it's kind of funny. Some of these games, actually, where he's diving in really strongly in the beginning but not getting much done, he's actually ending up winning those. It feels like it has something to do with the way he's dictating the game, right? Like, he's kind of controlling Reynor's actions through how aggressive he's being.
Yeah, that is true. And one thing I want to point out here is we kind of have almost the TY. Well, I think there's a third base, actually. So, yeah, we got the TY. There we go. So, yeah, TY 211 coming on up. It's a little slower than the normal one, and Reynor did scout it. But maybe this is what Clem needs, right? We saw, sure, the first level of aggression didn't work, but the early marine pressure, the third barrel in that cannon, actually was able to win that game. So, in game number 3 here, Clem's going to try to do it again. When stim completes, running across the map, 16 Marines, something like that. But again, Reynor scouted this. I don't think this is going to get as much done as it did last time.
No, you're definitely right about that. It's really, really, really not. Just kind of looking at the time it's coming out and everything. I mean, kill some creep, some lings, you know, force some transfusions to be used, that type of thing. That's always useful. You want to be out there. You have to be active. You can't just let them do whatever they want. But I'm definitely not expecting that much damage dealt here.
Yeah, well, you know, if lings are on the other side, that's certainly something taken away from Clem's bit of aggression. It always feels so tempting to go for a run-by like this, but Clem is good, so we're going to have to see how much is there on the other side of the map. But look, Artosis, queens are here, queens are good. It really should not be all that much. And, oh, yeah, the ling's actually going to trade somewhat well against the reinforcements on the other side. Clem, though, trying to take advantage of this one, maybe knocking a queen down. Unsuccessful in that endeavor, and both players, they kind of they run into each other. They hit their chest against each other, they hold their hands back, and they start to pinwheel. It's not really working out for either.
No, and I mean, I think that's pretty much, they both knew that going into these types of openers, right? We do have the carapace starting up here for Reynor. A lot of lings are being made, quite a few, so I think he's almost expecting that follow-up to come from Clem. Which, I mean, he might be right about that, right? We have tanks coming out, we have more Raxes being added, and Clem does like to be aggressive. And if you don't have those lings out when he comes, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. But, okay, he's making, like, a lot of lings.
Yeah, that is more than you need, really. So he's going to look to try to maybe hope that as these Marines are on the other side of the map, that he can find a big bit of damage early on, as maybe Clem starts to situate his fourth base, maybe. But for now, Lings, they're going to find their way on in. Oh no, Marines, they're on the wall, so the Lings, they find their way on in. And guess what, Artosis? There is nothing here. Yeah, sure, there's a rally, but Lings, they're going to start to knock those down. Army, though, actually rotating in from the third base. It looks like that should be enough, but even still, 7, 8 workers go on down. Clem has no aggression on the other side of the map, and this aggression from Clem totally stymied.
Yeah, that really did pay off, and now Clem is going to try to counter push as hard as he can, but there's actually plenty of units here. I can't imagine this actually getting that much done. A lot more Lings being fielded right now, more Banelings being made. That Baneling speed has been done for a bit as well. Well, he's going to pick off a couple queens, it looks like. Oh, just barely not. A couple queens do live through that. Banelings rolling down towards this third base.
Oh man, 6 more workers go down. SCV's given it the hug of death, and 8 more to follow, or I guess 2 more to follow. Clem is just taking too much damage. We saw in games 2 and 3, Clem started to fall apart from run-bys in the late game. Well, Artosis, it's not the late game, but Reynor is doing that thing. He's just not letting Clem get on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how you're going to really end up winning against Clem. He needs his aggression. He needs to be up microing in your face, but these counterattacks have been strong. The defense as well has been very strong. The creep spread, like, he has not been able to really deny it much in this area. And look at this, yet another counterattack. So painful for Clem. He doesn't have a 4th up. His 3rd is lifted. 12 more SCVs die. And realistically, look at this position. Is he going to be able to get that hatchery? My gut tells me no.
Yeah, we're starting to the point that where Clem does need to get that hatchery. He's taken too much damage, and just the incessant run-bys coming on in from Reynor. But Reynor's saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this fight a little bit slow. I'm going to let myself take some damage on the hatch, just waiting for the Lings to come on in from behind. The tanks go down, big Widowmine shots, but Artosis, it is not enough here. All the tech of Clem's army, it's going to fall on down. He picks up, he goes home, or goes somewhere else. The Meditech goes down, and as the Lings, they shadow things. Bailey's on the other side. Reynor, he has woken up for game number 5. He is angry. He says, this finals is mine. And no, Clem, you looked good in a couple games. You do not get to take this one from me.
Man, yeah, he is just kind of Hulk smashing through everything at this point. You know, Clem's production has been strong. He still has a bit of an army here, not all that much left over, but he has to GG. The pressure was too much, and Clem almost fallen out of his chair there. It was a tough series. He fought well, but at the end of the day, another win here for Reynor.